Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome to another Naked Convo with. Today we have a very interesting conversation with Donna and John Price from British Naturism. And thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being on the show. How are you guys doing today?
We're fine.
Yeah, we're fine. Thank you. Yeah.
How's the weather back at home?
We got a lovely sunny afternoon,
Yes,
as it happens.
for a change.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is it too cold to be in the nude?
Outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of pictures that you guys have in the snow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do go outside, but quite briefly.
Yeah, that's pretty hardcore. Here it gets maybe about, you guys use Fahrenheit, right?
Centigrade.
Oh, awesome. So it gets I don't know, maybe about 10 degrees Celsius, and like we're all covered up in winter clothes, and I'm sure you guys could just walk outside in the garden, no problem at all.
Well, we probably could, but not for long.
So I'd like to talk a little bit about you guys. How did you get started in naturism? How long ago did you discover it? Were you already a couple when that happened? Who was the curious one?
It was probably about, well, it was in 2010 we actually first tried it on a beach on holiday. Just by accident we found this beach, and
In New Zealand.
yeah, in New Zealand. And John's never liked wearing clothes. So you said you'd always wanted to try it. So there was virtually no one on the beach. So we said, okay, let's give it a go. And I swam naked for the first time then, and I just fell in love with it. It's just brilliant. But we didn't really do much more about it. Even when we came home, we had other things going on, so we didn't do anything for a few years. And it wasn't until 2016 we really got into it more deeply, I suppose.
Okay, and during this time from 2010 to 2016, did you guys practice naturism at home, or was it something occasional that you would go to the beach and if no one was around you would try? Or
We would be naked at home. It wasn't. We didn't really think about it as being naturism. As Donna said, I don't really like wearing clothes. So, in the summer, if it was nice, we'd be naked in the garden, around the house. We had a reasonably private garden, not quite as private as we hoped sometimes, on one or two occasions, but the neighbours were very good about it. But yeah, we as we said, we didn't wear clothes a lot anymore than we had to.
and how did you guys come across naturism then? Did you have the curiosity of learning more about a community? Did you know there was a community around being naked or anything like that?
We're not. It's a bit of a mystery, really.
Yeah,
a bit of a grey area.
I don't think we certainly didn't know there was a community about it, really. As John said, our garden wasn't perfect, so I think it was early in 2016, early summer. We thought, let's try and find a naturist beach. So we did find one that was a couple of hours from where we live, and we tried it, and it was nice to be back on a naturist beach again. But it was a long way. It wasn't ideal. It wasn't something we could do very often. From there, I started doing a bit more research about it and found that we had a club, a naturist club that was pretty close to where we lived. And I think that's really what triggered it off, wasn't it? We went to the club, we had a look round, and we joined the club. And that we had a good few months that summer. It was a really hot summer. And we really, really got into it then. And that's when we found British Naturism. And then I think things just spiraled. We joined British Naturism towards the end of the summer in 2016.
The club wasn't really our thing. There's a strange sort of thing about some clubs, as they're called in England, going back to the 60s, a sun club, and they tend to stick into the 60s. They don't want to change.
Yeah, they don't want to progress, modernise.
That seems to be a common trend amongst clubs or some institutions, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. They wanted new members and the money, but you mustn't change anything. They wanted things as they were 30, 40 years beforehand. There's a lot of politics, committees. No.
Yeah.
And in fact, we were
Going back a little, what about the nude experience that you guys enjoy? What was the benefits that you got as individuals, Donna as a woman, and also as a couple?
I actually found that it was a boost to my confidence. I actually felt more comfortable naked than I did dressed. I've always been painfully shy, and I really don't know why, because it is completely perverse. It's completely illogical, but it just makes me feel more comfortable. You don't feel judged on how you dress or how you look. You know, everyone's, as I say, we always say it's a great leveler. Everyone is equal. You don't know anyone's status, class, what they do for a living, anything, and you just talk to the person. So I think for me, it just made me feel more comfortable.
Which is like the saying, no, if you're nervous in front of a crowd, just imagine everyone naked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And
But
how
as
about
a-
you, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lovely feeling being naked.
Especially outside.
Well, yeah, especially outside. I've always envied ladies because they can wear dresses and think, not that I've had any inclination to wear dresses,
Well, you could as well.
except on a Friday. But anyway, that's a different story. But they can wear dresses with no underwear. Men always have to wear trousers or something, so the air never circulates around that part of the body. But when you're naked, it's a wonderful feeling. It's still something nice I found after all these years. That it's nice to have the air circulating everywhere and the wonderful freedom, and especially if it sounds quite good, especially if it's very warm, and
Yeah,
you don't have clothes and sweaty clothes.
it's
Yeah.
definitely very liberating. So you mentioned that once you guys started going to the club, you started spiraling from there. What was about the club or the organized naturism that attracted you guys to be a part of it?
I think we found the people very friendly.
There wasn't anything initially.
No, but
It's only when we started to meet people.
yeah.
I think that's when we realised everybody's been very nice.
Yeah, naturists just seem to be nice people.
I think maybe with perhaps one exception, we haven't met anybody that we didn't want to meet again.
No. That's right.
And in that particular case, I think he was just on the wrong wavelength for some reason.
I think so.
But no, everybody's very, very nice and friendly and open, and we've made some lovely friends.
We have, yeah, and I mean, it's changed our life. We often tell people it's changed our life, and it did, because we moved because of naturism. We actually moved 250 miles.
It's not.
Wow.
Well,
we met some naturists who lived 250 miles from where we lived, and we liked where they lived.
Yes.
So we moved here.
Yeah.
So
So indirectly.
indirectly,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So indirectly, but yeah.
If it isn't an indiscretion, what area do you guys live in?
Lincolnshire, which is East Midlands.
East Midlands. I'm not very familiar with the geography, so I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, it's sort of by Manchester, and we're over to the right.
Yeah, it's right on the east coast, really.
And how's the weather there usually? Are there more clubs there, or why did you choose this area?
It's a big county, and it's not very heavily populated, so it's quiet. We used to live in a very busy part of the country.
We lived in Kent,
Oh.
which is the bit on the right hand side that sticks out nearest France.
Yeah.
In fact, we could see France from our back garden, so it was.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
But it was very close to London, and it's just a very busy area, very, very densely populated, and we wanted some peace. We wanted some more rural kind of living, and we found it in Lincolnshire. It's beautiful.
We wanted to move for a long time, but we didn't know where we wanted to move to. And through my work, I've worked all over the country, but Lincolnshire is one of those places that you've got to want to go into Lincolnshire because all the main motorways go past it.
Mm-hmm.
So go north to south, unless you go east, you don't go into Lincolnshire. So it's one part that I've never been to, one of the few parts. And visiting these people, it was an eye opener. We realised how lovely it was here.
Is there a specific region in the UK where naturist resorts or clubs concentrate, or are they scattered all over the place?
I would think they're pretty scattered, actually. I wouldn't say there was a concentration of them anywhere.
Yeah. Because, for example, in the US, it's Florida and
Yeah.
California where most of them are, but that's because of the weather conditions there are just great. So I was
Yeah.
wondering if there's something similar in the UK, or is it just all
No,
over
it's
the place?
cold everywhere.
No, I mean, we don't have resorts as such, you know, like they do in Europe. So we don't have naturist resorts.
Oh.
We do have clubs, and they tend to. You won't find them. I can't think of one that's actually on the coast near a beach or anything like that. They tend to be inland, and they tend to be very secluded.
But
But
what's the difference between a resort and a club in the UK?
Well, a resort, I suppose, like Vera Playa
Yeah.
in Spain, where it is potentially a town, a
Mhm.
resort,
yeah,
and,
that's
it's 50% naturist. We don't have that sort of thing in England.
no. I don't think we really have a resort. I can't think of the word. We don't even have that as a concept for ordinary holidays, or you know, it's not just a naturist thing. We don't really have resorts. Probably the
Mhm.
closest thing we have is Skegness and Butlins, but no.
You know, but you know, in Vera Playa, it's 20, 30 degrees out there today. So their winter is very small, very short. So
Mhm.
they walk around naked
Yeah.
sort of 10 months of the year. Where we're lucky if we get a few weeks when it's that warm. But so probably that's why we don't have the resorts as such.
No, probably not. We don't have
So
them.
are they like indoor facilities mainly?
No, they're not. They are mainly, the clubs are mainly outdoor. They will have a clubhouse usually, and some of them have a covered pool. Some of them they just have a sun heated pool. So even
So is
that's
it more like a non-landed club, like a group of people that would get together on certain occasions for specific events?
we we don't have. I don't think we have that many non-landed clubs. We probably have a few. Mainly they're based around swims. So
Mhm.
they would hire a pool, a municipal pool, on a particular day of a week or a month, and there'll be a group of naturists that go to those pools. So that's probably the closest I would think we have to the non-landed clubs. I know sort of Australia has a lot of non-landed clubs.
Okay. And going back to the participation with British Naturism, when did you guys start becoming more active? What year was that? Do you remember?
Um, well, I got more involved by running the women's campaign in 2019.
Mhm.
Before that, I suppose we'd been a bit more active in as much as we were often asked to help with supplying them with images for use for advertising, you know, for illustrating articles on the website and in the brochure, and in the magazines. We take a lot of pictures, and
Mhm.
a lot of members are not happy to have their pictures published because they're
Yes.
likely to be seen, you know, in the mainstream. So, but we don't mind. So we tended to help the marketing department. We started off in that way, didn't we? Helping the marketing department by, you know, if they needed a particular picture to illustrate something, if we didn't have something, we would try and recreate it for them.
Usually at very short notice.
Yes.
So we
So
need a picture like this for tomorrow. And you're like, okay.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've had that.
Yeah, we've had it where it was about 7:30 in the morning, February, I think it was, and we had an email saying, we need these pictures, somebody in a car, naked in a car, now, we need it now. So stripped off, and got the car out onto the driveway and took our clothes off, set the camera up. February this was.
I'm sure the neighbors are very amused.
Yes.
Fortunately, yeah, they did know about it, but yeah. So, but that sort of thing.
Yeah, but that's how we sort of started to get more involved with them, and then I thought about I had a lot of contacts from male naturist friends whose partners wouldn't get involved, and
Mhm.
they asked me how could they encourage their partners to get involved. And I thought it was a shame that there wasn't as many women as there could be.
Yeah.
So when the Women in Naturism campaign was talked about, I said, yeah, I'd like to help. I must admit, I didn't envisage running it, but I sort of, I think I was hoodwinked at some point. But yeah, that was August 2019. So.
Awesome. And well, you didn't really get enough time to implement this outside of the pandemic.
Not really, no.
Yeah. I mean, you guys were probably just taking off and then boom, everyone locked at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were actually in Australia when the lockdown started.
Yeah, February and March last year. Yeah.
Yeah, we just got out of Australia, just about straight into a lockdown.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we had lots of plans for events and things, but
Have you guys been able to do anything online?
We do some online events with British Naturism. We do we go to their pub night sometimes. I mean, there are lots of daytime events which generally we don't have time for, but we do some of the evening events, some of the conferences that they do, and the interviews.
So I noticed, well, during the pandemic, British Naturism started having a really impactful presence, in my opinion, online, which is something that I believe most of the other federations sort of, kind of imitated or followed along. And I do know that you have been organizing certain conferences related to women in naturism. Can you tell us a little bit about that work?
It's still in the pipeline at the moment because because we have we don't know what we're doing. We don't know how soon we're going to be able to get out and actually do some events. They're all still in the early stages, all the things we're trying to do. We were hoping to do some events, some real life events with our charity of the year, British Heart Foundation. So we have plans for that, particularly around skinny dipping, because the one thing that does seem to attract women is skinny dipping for charity. For some unknown reason, it seems to be what they're quite happy to strip off for. So
Okay.
that's something we're really keen to capitalize on.
I've noticed that sometimes when people just need an excuse, like just the idea of simply taking off your clothes to sit by the pool is hard for many. But as soon as you add a specific concept like raising funds or art or whatever, it makes it much easier for people to be willing to strip.
Almost justifies it. Gives them a
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that we need one, but I guess some people do.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Sorry, don't get the world stars. BBC.
Oh yeah, I did. You may not have seen it. I put it. It was out on Twitter by the BBC as well. But I did an interview on a BBC program, BBC Radio 4 program, known as Woman's Hour, last month, which was, I think that was really well received. Certainly online afterwards, and certainly while we were still on air. Although I couldn't actually tell what was coming in, but there was a lot of email messages coming in while we were still on air talking about it. And it was about walking naked in the countryside in the UK. So it was a very good program, and they have somewhere in the region of 3.5 million listeners. So
Wow.
that was really good.
And how did they hear about you guys? How did they get in contact? How was that experience?
It came about because last September, a guy was wrongfully arrested for walking naked in the countryside in the UK, in the northeast of the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And the article, there was an article in The Guardian, I believe it was, about this guy's wrongful arrest. I mean, it was all sorted out, but it was put in the paper, and the BBC picked up on it and contacted British Naturism and said they wanted to do something about this on Women's Hour. I don't know why they picked Women's Hour, but anyway, because it was Women's Hour, they were put in touch with me, and that's how it came about. That was very good. I mean, I was very nervous, but it was very good. And they videoed it. They videoed it. They did it because it was over Zoom. They videoed it as well, and they put the video clip out on Twitter and on the BBC website. and I believe it's been subsequently transcribed into 40 plus languages for
Wow.
use around the BBC World websites. So,
That's funny how when we started this conversation, you said you were terribly shy, and now being on the BBC and all over the place, how does that feel?
it's something I still pinch myself and think, did I really do that? Because it's just not me. It's just, if you'd said it to me 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said, no way.
But I mean, I guess it's because you really believe in the cause. Why do
Yeah.
you think it's so difficult for women to take part in naturism?
The biggest issue I think has to be body image, and it's their own self-esteem, their own self-awareness. I think that has to be the number one thing that women say to me. You know, I couldn't do it. I haven't got the figure for it. No one would want to see me like that. It's all the usual things. And I think the other key thing is that women tend to worry more about what other people think. You know, what will their family think? What will their neighbours think? Their friends? You know,
Mhm.
There is a point. It seems an increasing number of men have a similar problem.
yeah, with
I mean, we also
body
have
image.
women and their body image. I think since Donna's been doing this, it's come to light. There are a lot of men who have body images as well.
Yeah, particularly
Yeah.
the younger ones.
I think it's a phenomenon related to social media. It has a lot to do like with Instagram, and also if you notice on movies, before the superheroes were, just regular kind of muscular guys, and now they're just enormous, shredded, and very so I feel that this is really affecting the way that we perceive our bodies as men, and it's something that women have been dealing with for a very long time.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. The media has
A lot to answer for.
a lot to answer for. But I think they're the two sort of main reasons that put women off, that actually sort of make them think more than twice sometimes about even going near it. Which
Also, I think when they do go to naturist beaches, there are unfortunately some of the beaches, and this is a problem I think throughout the world. You get a certain type of male who go to the beaches who are not naturists, but they go there for all the wrong reasons, and they approach women. Women don't feel safe on their own.
Yeah. And I'm sure that that's a huge problem, but there's also a more subtle problem that I'm pretty sure affects as well. And I've noticed that women get more attention when, like, even friendly attention when they go to a naturist destination. And I understand that people are probably not wanting to make them feel uncomfortable, but I'm pretty sure that for a woman to go to a nude club and just a lot of friendly guys walk up to her also make her feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I,
and I think it has to be said that it's not all the time it's for the wrong reasons. I think naturists are generally very friendly.
Yes.
Problem is it's
it's
segregating the naturists from the,
and I think also sometimes, you get, I think because there's so few women that actually end up attending events or beaches or whatever, when you do get a few women go, everyone just says, oh great, there's some women. It's, and that's why they want to come and talk. And as you say, some of them are friendly and that's all they want to do is say, oh, it's great to see a woman here. But it's attention that maybe they just don't want. If they could just be ignored, maybe, I don't know.
you can't win because you want to make them welcome.
But yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess it has to do with nonverbal cues that people usually convey. You can see if someone is comfortable and wants to chat more, or they probably just want to spend time to their own. So I think we have to be receptive to what body language the person conveys. But how do you approach this phenomenon with women? What is your strategy to try to make them feel more safe, comfortable, and not judged?
I mean, I don't have a magic formula. All I usually tell people is that they've got to get their confidence on their own first. They have to be comfortable with themselves. So I would never say to someone, just for the first time, if you've never taken your clothes off in front of people before, well, just go to a beach or a club, because that's just asking for trouble. You've got to start at home. You've got to start where you're comfortable. So start in your own space, even if it's on your own. because you don't want to be naked in front of your partner. Even some of them don't. Once you've got that comfort with yourself, that you think that being naked actually feels natural and normal, then you've got much more confidence to be able to go out and share that, if you like, to be able to go out and be with other people. But I think you have to take, I mean, that's what I usually tell women, is you've got to take small steps. You've got to get yourself right frame of mind, and just, you know, be comfortable. Think, this is me and this is how I'm happy.
Okay.
It's not easy.
It's not, but I think you're doing a great job at inspiring women. The main approach that I feel that works is showing people how it's done. It's always easy to try to talk someone into something, but if they see someone else doing it, it's much easier. So for example, your presence online, your interviews and all that kind of material that you're taking out, makes other people see it, like other women see it, and they can feel inspired by that and follow along. But I've also noticed that there's something like, I call it the naked gene, or the naturist gene. Like the moment that people find out about this, they're either interested or not. And we also have to understand that there's some people that simply are not interested. And, you know, it's impossible to convince them, but maybe people who are interested but need a little push or a little confidence boost, those are the type of people that we can work with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you definitely need it. You need an open mind. You need a curiosity.
So I do also know that there's like a collaboration amongst women that are promoting naturism. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you guys are doing?
It's only in early stages, and there's only a few of us in it. In fact, obviously, you know Linda, and
Yes.
you know, she's a major part to this, and it sort of started with her, and I'm building up slowly a network of ladies in the UK and in Europe who are willing to just spread the word, really willing to do sort of what I do, but on a sort of a lower level, just talking to people, just telling people about naturism, and acting as a sort of friendly advice point for women who are interested in their area.
Is there a place where women who are interested can reach out and get in contact with you or with what you're doing?
Yeah, the BN website. I have a page on there that's available for everyone to read. It's at bn.org.uk/women.
Okay, and they can also find you on your personal Twitter.
Yeah.
That would be at Naked Freestyler. Is that correct?
Yeah,
I'm going to be sharing those links in the description of this video. But I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. So I also really like about your profile how you're mixing in everyday activities. Specifically, I see a lot of cooking. Is that a passion of yours, or?
Yeah, we do like cooking. I'm into baking. I'm certainly into making bread, and that's one thing I do a lot of. But yeah, I don't really know how it started, but we have the band of buff bakers on Twitter now, and it's quite funny. We all get baking and share what we've made, and it's great. We swap recipes. But I think this is another point about naturism is normalizing it. It's showing that you can do, and you should do, daily activities naked. I mean, where it's safe. I mean, if you're going to go out chainsawing in the garden, we wouldn't advocate that. But you know, yeah, you can do your normal daily activities naked. So
I was decorating half an hour ago naked.
it's the best way to do it.
But people have to be cautious because sometimes cooking naked can be dangerous.
Yes, you do have to be careful around ovens. Yes.
And I don't know. I was looking at the pictures and all the recipes and everything, and I was thinking to myself, man, it would be nice to have tutorial videos explaining how to cook some of these things. Have you ever thought of that?
I've done a couple. There are a couple on Twitter, on my Twitter feed. There's a couple of bread making tutorials that I've done, so they are available. We'll have to do some.
I did do one on how to cook Indian onion bhajis.
Oh, that's right, you did, yeah.
my
So those are on Twitter? I mean, I see pictures. I haven't found the videos.
Yeah, they are on Twitter. I think they're probably going back to last year now, but they are on there, yeah.
And there's also a couple of pictures of you guys traveling, camping. Where do you guys like to go and practice naturism?
Well, we do live in the middle of in the country. We've got a very private garden, which is nice. It's our own private little bit of countryside, which is nice. But there's some, because it's very rural in this part of Lincolnshire. We can walk across fields and just generally around. But we went for a walk the other day and found a new route that we can do when it's warmer.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Across the fields, but generally it's
Yeah, we go to the beach.
Yeah,
we go to our.
We have got a beach. We have that.
Do you tend to travel to other places in Europe that have a warmer climate?
We've been to. The thing is, we only got into naturism, as I say, sort of 4 or 5 years ago. So we haven't actually visited that many naturist destinations. We've been to a few in Spain and the Canary Islands. And we did quite a bit in Australia, didn't we? Last couple of times we've been. So, but
it's all changed.
Yeah, I mean, we had lots of plans to do lots of sort of resorts abroad.
We did have holidays booked for last
year,
so
yeah.
We cancelled those, but Australia was our last.
Yeah,
which was very nice.
And how did your family and friends take this when they found out that you were a naturist? I'm sure that after being on the BBC, it's probably hard to hide it from people. So what was their reaction?
Well, we don't have a great deal of family left. We don't have any children, so our parents are no longer around, but we have some relatives, and we haven't really hidden it from them anyway, have we? We're quite open about it on our Facebook feed, and I don't think we've had any negative reactions, actually.
No, sometimes if we do post a picture, people say, well, makes a change to see you with your clothes on. Or that sort of remark, but it's all very light-hearted. I think people just accept us as.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a single negative reaction. We've had people say, well, rather you than me, we wouldn't do it or whatever, but
there's also the curiosity element, right? It's I mean, for some people it's something that they probably didn't even know existed, so it's it's like, oh, okay, so how does that work?
Yeah, I think we've had a few people ask questions, haven't we?
Mm.
And we've had a few people who are curious, who I think actually wouldn't mind giving it a go, so we might have some converts.
Yeah, so based on your experience collaborating with British Naturism, and I'm sure that as we've been in lockdown, you guys have had a little bit of time to see how organized naturism works. What is your opinion on institutions like the INF, or I don't know, like other organizations that are a little bit outdated, or a lot?
I think the organisations are good, and I think they have their place.
Mm-hmm.
They do need to constantly move. They do need to constantly keep up with their members on what their members want, what sort of demographic they've got, and if they're aiming for a particular age group or something like that, they've got to realise what it is that age group is looking for.
Mm-hmm.
In other countries, it's very difficult because of the culture. Australia, for example, nudity. Ooh.
Yeah.
Of all the places that you'd think that they didn't
Really?
mind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's very
highly illegal.
Yeah.
Except in recognised places, and in America as well. They're not. But Australia was a big surprise to us. So you can't. They can't advertise it. It's not accepted.
And also, I think, I mean, the INF obviously covers so many countries as well. It's probably more difficult when you've got a smaller country and an organisation that just looks after that one country. It's probably much easier. But I don't know how they would actually try and.
Well, I don't think it's that difficult, because that's what the national federations are for. The international federation would be, in my opinion, solving international problems. I guess the INF would be the ideal institution to be fighting against censorship online, for example.
Yeah.
Educating social media on who we are, what we stand for, that kind of stuff. I don't feel like they're necessarily an authority that has to administrate all the other national federations, because that's what national federations are for. But they're just concentrating on a couple events in Europe, and that's it.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
and there's also, like, for example, a lot of knowledge that some of these more larger developed institutions could share with more emerging institutions. Maybe that could help them understand how it works. There's institutions like ANR who have lobbying committees, and who will understand how legislation works and how to, get a public beach, for example. But there's also this mentality that people who get naked on the beach aren't real naturists. You have to be a member of a club and pay your dues in order to be. And I mean, that's something Linda said, the president of the INF said during a world forum. So that's the type of mentality of these institutions, and that doesn't seem to help.
No, that doesn't help. No, I mean, there's an unofficial figure over here that, we have 4 million naturists. Well, there's certainly not that many members of BN. So to say that you would have to be a member, it doesn't seem appropriate, really. I don't think. So yeah, you're right. It's working on the bigger issues. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, people would join an institution if they saw benefits from it. I mean, it's really hard if you, like, the idea is, oh, well, if you want us to help you, then you have to be a member. I think it's the other way around. I think the institutions should provide value, and that will naturally attract people who sympathize with what they're doing. For example, if an institution like ANR had anything to do with public beaches, I'm sure a ton of people would want to join ANR. And they don't. They actually don't like the idea of having public beaches, because it's out of their closed wall and they can't control it, and they don't have a vision on how to monetize it, which is actually pretty absurd, because I've noticed that public beaches generate more need and desire to have clubs, because it's different. Like, people want to go to a nude beach, but those people also want to have a safe, comfortable place where they can hang out with their friends, and they go to a club for that. Or maybe they want to meet people, or maybe the beach is not that close to where they live, so it's not one versus another. It's actually how one complements and helps grow the other.
Yeah.
But that's something that some organizations don't seem to understand.
Mm.
And I think BN is different in that sense. BN has a lot of online presence. I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot of opportunities of getting a ton of nude beaches in the UK because of the weather, but they're very engaged in that, and I think that a lot of other organizations can learn from that. And I mean, we're talking about the big ones. There's a ton of little organizations that have a very limited scope. I was the president of the Mexican Federation, and we didn't have resources. We didn't have many. It was also really hard because we wanted people to join, but people didn't see an immediate benefit, but we couldn't give them an immediate benefit because we didn't have resources. So it's that kind of challenge. But through a public event, Cipolita Festival, that was organized by by the first president of the Mexican Federation, the interest just started growing.
Yeah. How many people were there
This year? Not as many as previous years, but more than I expected. I'm not sure exactly what was the official count, but I think last year it was around 4,000 to 6,000 people last year. This year, I'd say maybe about 3,000 people, 2,000 people. The beach wasn't fully booked, but there was plenty of people. In my experience, it was one of my favorite festivals because generally we have a lot of responsibilities. So we have to cover certain events and do other things. So we're always busy. It feels more like work than it does vacation. This year, because I no longer have any responsibilities, we were perfectly able to enjoy. But it's also different because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
We tried to avoid closed areas. We tried to maintain our distance, but there's always a risk. Yeah.
But it was still a good attendance, considering all those things. So
I think people are sadly tired of this, of being locked up at home. It's just, I don't know, maybe the idea of having a vaccine coming in the distribution process makes people feel a little more relaxed, but that's also dangerous.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, there's been a lot of hype in England from the politicians how the vaccine's going to change our lives dramatically. Maybe, but nothing's proven. it's early days, and they don't really know how it's going to work yet. So, but I think people are becoming optimistic. But I think they're going to be disappointed because they're expecting to
Probably too much,
Yeah,
too soon.
too much too soon.
Probably.
It may be the end of May when we're allowed to
go out.
to go out, maybe. But then it was February, and then
Yeah.
it was March, and so maybe Christmas. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I imagine that this year is going to be, I mean, not the same as previous year because we have a better understanding of what's going on, and people. I think what really affected people psychologically was not knowing what was happening. Now we have a better idea, so maybe psychologically we're going to be better, but we're still at the highest peak of the pandemic, and I don't imagine being free by May. I think this is probably going to take the rest of the year. Maybe by next year, 2022 summer of 2022, we'll be able to go out and meet with friends again.
Well, this was a politician that mentioned the May part this morning, so
Yeah, I think politicians in the UK have been under a lot of fire because of how they handled it initially, and yeah. So, what do you guys imagine, or how do you guys imagine naturism after the pandemic? Like, is there anything that you guys want to do besides go out and meet with friends and that kind of stuff?
no, just
Yeah, I think
be free to go out.
Yeah, I don't.
And not have to worry that you're driving too far and the police car might stop you and fine you and ask for £200 because you've gone too far from your home and
Wow.
things like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think naturism in itself is going to change any more than any other activity as such.
I think I think because of the restrictions going abroad, we personally are very, very reluctant to plan anything. We know people who actually booked holidays in Spain for this year. Personally, no. So I think it might encourage people to do more in England.
Yeah.
They do say the England holiday trade is going to boom because people are saying, no way.
Yeah.
Who wants to go to Spain and be locked up for 2 weeks and can't get back, and the uncertainty because it all happens. England puts a blanket on like that and you don't know.
That's interesting. So in a sense, I mean, I agree with that vision. Most of I think the local communities are going to grow, and maybe other communities that depended on a more international audience might either have to evolve or suffer a little bit until the travel restrictions are lifted. And I think one of the advantages of, like, for example, we have a non-landed community here in Guadalajara, and people are just very anxious. They want to have events. We're being very cautious with the way that we handle that. We do want to have events, but we don't want to put people at risk. But we also, there's a lot of risk involved in organizing something, and then the government just says everything needs to close. so it's really hard. But I do think that after this, there's going to be a pretty big spike in participation. And a lot of home or nudists or people that discovered this during the pandemic are also going to be interested in wanting to go out. Do you think that do you think that the pandemic, being locked up at home and all these habits, will make women feel more comfortable being naked or less comfortable being naked?
I wouldn't be surprised if there are more ladies naked at home now than there were before, because a lot of them are working from home or can't go to work, so they're at home more often for longer. So maybe they're trying it. So in that respect, it might make a difference.
Yeah, I think there will be more people trying naturism at early events. Yeah, definitely. Even if they only try it the once, I think there will be more people doing it, because there have definitely been more people working naked from home. Definitely, we've had that. We've had people actually saying that into BN. We've had new members because they found it and they started doing it. So yeah, I think that's true.
Does BN have any activities going on right now online?
Yeah, the online events are happening, and they are going to stay online now because they've been so popular. They have over 92 online events every month. So, and they're going to carry on even after we're allowed out. So, because they are popular, people can do them. I mean, we've had so many members, new members from around the world, because they don't have to travel, but they can take part in the events and meet people. And okay, it's albeit virtually, but they're still meeting other naturists that they wouldn't do otherwise. So I think it's been a boom in that respect, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have had people.
How do they work? Like,
Sorry.
What is the format of those events? Like, what goes on?
Well, we have exercise events, we have yoga, we have meditation. They do cookery, online cookery, so you can actually cook along with someone.
Wow.
They have book clubs. We have coffee mornings.
The pub night.
The pub night, yeah.
Which is tonight on a Friday.
Every Friday there's a pub night.
And how does one participate in this?
It's all done on Zoom. So they're all Zoom events. And they work very well. To be fair, they really do work well. And they were so quick to put these up. They did all this within, I think it was within 10 days of the lockdown, the first lockdown.
Wow.
They put some online events together, and they did a really brilliant job. And the membership has just been amazing because of it, because people could still remain connected. They could, in fact, we've met naturists, other BM members that we would probably never have met before, because they live in Ireland or they live in the Isle of Man, or so I think it's been a brilliant thing, and because it's been so popular, they're going to keep those events going, so there are lots of them.
So if anyone that is listening to this conversation is interested in taking part, what do they need to do?
Again, if they visit the BN website, there's a shop option on there, and that will take them to all the online events. And some of those events are available to non-members as well as members on a pay-per-use basis.
Okay.
So you can actually try before you buy, if you like.
See if you like it. Oh, that's awesome. So I'm going to be sharing that link as well. So if anyone is interested in taking part, I do know that there's also been a pretty big sensation of seclusion of a lot of naturists who are locked up at home, don't have anywhere that they can socialize.
Yeah.
So this is a great alternative for them if they want to meet other people. Now, do only people from the UK participate, or do you have international members participating?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Obviously the time difference can be an obstacle, but we've had people at 4 o'clock in the morning joining us
on the pub night. And
on the pub night. Yeah, so people in Australia, India.
India is another good one. Yeah, we've had people from India at the pub night, and Australia, and I think we had a guy from Africa as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we do get them.
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot of attention when I had my YouTube channel. I noticed a lot of attention from people from India. Some of it was a little strange because I think that they haven't been exposed to nude bodies. So there was a lot of, I'd say, strange comments, but there's also a lot of people who are genuinely interested and who want to take part and don't have really alternatives in their countries. So the fact that they're taking part in these type of events, I think it's awesome because they're probably going to learn ways of implementing this locally. So that's good.
Mhm.
All right, Donna and John, is there anything that you guys want to talk about or mention? Anything else?
No, I think
No.
we've covered pretty much everything. Yeah.
Claire,
Perfect.
nice to see you're a cat lover as well.
Yes.
You've-
Yeah, well,
you've-
it was
Wake up.
actually Andrea, my wife. She got me into the cat world. I was a dog lover, but cats are just they're so convenient and practical, and they're great to have.
They are, yeah.
And
Great characters.
And you don't have to take them out for a walk in the pouring rain.
Sometimes I try to take him out for walks, and it's very amusing to see how he reacts to the noises and everything that's going on. But he's gotten a lot better. He has a problem in his eyes. He has allergies. I think
Wow.
it's related to plants. We have a ton of plants at home, but he loves to put his face in the plants.
Right.
And it's really hard. Like we have to get rid of all the plants, or I don't know if it's a specific plant. We don't know what's going on. So we take him to the vet often to get his eyes checked. And he's so used to going out. And I've noticed that a lot of cats are very resistant to leaving their home. But he's very nice. He's very cool. He has a really nice personality.
Very active, I see.
Oh yeah, you can see, right?
Yeah, so he's difficult to control in one imagine.
Yeah. Well, when he was younger, he was a little monster, but now I think he's matured, or I don't know what happened to him, but that's his state.
He's found the warmest spot anyway. They always do.
Oh, they love attention. Every time that I'm on a call or recording or whatever, like they love to come around, and I'm not doing anything, and they're just downstairs laying down. So they like attention.
Yeah, they do.
All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you very much for taking part in this Naked Convo with. As I mentioned before, I'm going to be sharing the links to everything that we mentioned in the description. So if you guys are interested in checking Donna's workout, or also what they're doing with British Naturism or Women in Naturism, you can find all those links in the description. I want to thank you guys once again for being a part of this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.